Welcome to the Blackout Show, presented by The Guillen Grade, a show about the Chicago White Sox baseball, the good, the bad, the ugly. We'll debate what's working and what's not on the south side of Chicago. It's old school versus new school baseball. And most importantly, we're keeping all the receipts.
Oh my God, we are live from Little Joe's, the Blackout Show on the near west side of Chicago. Little Italy, 1041 Taylor Street, Little Joe's. There we go. The Blackout Show today, presented by Chris Chelios's El Bandito Tequila. Get yourself some. I'm not a tequila fan at all, but I will mess up some El Bandito. I'm Slavko Bekovic, joined by Chris Gonzalez and Jay Targaryen. We don't have to say your last name. Beautiful. The Bears have lost once again. We'll start the show there. We have a lot to talk about with the White Sox, too. Will Venable being named the new manager. Probably going to be the same as the old manager. We'll have some thoughts on that. And then apparently there's some fantasy baseball and football to discuss. But we're going to start this show with the Bears coming off another loss. KG, we love you. We love Little Joe's, but we've been jinxed twice. Last time we were here, the rainout canceled the White Sox game. And today, the Bears got waxed by the worst team in football, which I think by transitive property makes them the worst team in football. Shout out Shane Waldron and the offensive line. Ryan Poles is to blame for that, too. So we'll start with the Bears before we get into the White Sox. I think Jay has some depression to get out. Like, we're just going to let him vent for a little bit.
I'm tired of it. I really am, because at this point, how do you mess up Caleb Williams, a perfect thrower of the football? You brought in Shane Waldron. You signed Gerald Everett. You have Cole Kmet. Why don't you use both your tight ends on the field at the same time? You have offensive line issues. Ryan Poles is blood on your hands too, because if you were going to make the decision with Caleb, you should have started fresh with the whole coaching staff. You brought in a lemon and you kept a lime. I'm tired. I'm tired of it, bro. Like, these tickets are expensive. These jerseys are expensive. You think we're going to stop buying it? No. But listen, I promise you, something's going to have to give, because you're asking us to support a new stadium. You're asking us to keep paying this money. We can't do this. We just got blown out by the worst team in the league, and they didn't even score 20 points. How do you get blown out by not even giving up 20 points? This is sick, and I'm going to crash out. The Bears, congratulations. You made me crash out. So I was supposed to be Targaryen today, but I'm just Targaryen. How about that?
So Jay was supposed to be here at 3:30. We went live at 4 o'clock. He showed up a little bit late. And the first thing he said when he got into the bar was, I think I'm done with the Bears. So we wanted to let him get that off his chest.
Done.
D-U-N. Gonzo, your thoughts on the Bears?
I believe it's pretty evident a week ago that by now, Eberflus, Shane Waldron, they should have been fired a week ago. But Ryan Poles kept them. By this time tomorrow, if Matt Eberflus, Shane Waldron, if they haven't been fired, this is on Ryan Poles. If I'm Kevin Warren, right after this game, I'm calling Poles in the office. I'm saying, hey, you have two options. One, get rid of these two, or else you're going to be gone. That being said, if these coaches haven't been fired by tomorrow, Ian Cunningham should have been promoted to the general manager. Slav is rolling his eyes at me, but I'll do it all the time. I'll give you my theory in this in a second. But at the very least, this is what the Bears haven't done. They've never been playing checkers at all. They're too busy, or not playing checkers, playing chess, my bad. But they've been playing checkers this whole time. And Cunningham needs to take over as GM. From there, if that goes as what I would feel how it should go, I would promote Eric Washington, defensive coordinator, as your head coach, and Thomas Brown take over as OC and see what we got with him and go from there. Now, let me ask you, why do you roll your eyes, Slav? And I'll get into my side of it in a sec.
So there's two reasons I roll my eyes. Number one, because I roll my eyes at most things that you say.
Not fair.
Number two, like you just always have a plan and it's just not always realistic. Number one, I agree with you on one of those things. Waldron has been a joke. Eberflus, as much as I love him as a man and a leader of men, as a coach and a tactician, he sucks. That's tough. Like, this is one of the first times in my life I've wanted a Bears coach to go where I actually like the guy. I didn't want Lovie Smith to go. I like Lovie Smith. That was a different situation. But like every coach since then, there was reasons to dislike him across the board. I like Flus a lot as a man. I don't like him as a head coach. If he was the DC, great. This team would be in great shape. And you can still say they are still long-term in very good shape. I don't think that Caleb Williams has been ruined yet. I don't think that the offensive line is a total loss yet. We know the defense is good when they're paying attention to the play on the field instead of the fans in the stands. Outside of that, Ryan Poles is at fault for this, 100%. You get all these toys and you do nothing to protect them. He didn't get the insurance that Caleb Williams needs with a good offensive line. As a former offensive lineman, it makes no sense to me. How do you just totally ignore the trenches? How do you totally ignore the offensive line to protect all the investments that you've made with Williams, with Swift, with the offensive, with the receivers, the weapons? To your point with the 2 tight end thing, like week 3, Shane Waldron remembered he had Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet had like 3 great games in a row. Gerald Everett has barely seen the field and done anything. Mercedes Lewis is just kind of used sparingly. So like that's one adjustment he's made, but I just don't understand the play calling. It's not like they don't have the weapons, but how do you allow 9 sacks to the Patriots? It's embarrassing.
The Patriots just traded their best pass rusher, and yet you still give them a turnstile offensive line. It's sad.
To your point about Poles and Cunningham, I don't think promoting all those dudes makes any sense because Poles picked them all. If you are going to promote Cunningham, you have to do it now because he's gone after this season. He is getting hired somewhere else after what he's done with Poles and this team the last few years, which is why, in my opinion, you don't let go of Poles. There's no point in firing Poles. I've seen a lot of people saying from Poles down, fire everyone. Yes, it is his fault that his quarterback has not been protected. But look at the roster he inherited compared to the roster that he has today. He transformed this team into a competitive team. Granted, they're not always competitive because of some of their deficiencies, but I would hope that at some point, whenever the season's over, he's going to own that I did not do a good enough job of protecting my offense, my prize investment with my number 1 overall pick quarterback. I have a hard time believing that Poles wouldn't just go out and kind of own that. That you would think would be priority number 1, 1A, 1B, with priority number 2 in the offseason being the defensive line. Because the defense is good, but they still need some more depth on that D-line. So obviously football, you win in the trenches, you lose in the trenches. They're getting destroyed right now, week in and week out. And your offensive coordinator is doing absolutely nothing to help with some of those deficiencies. I think I saw 1 bootleg today from Caleb Williams. Granted, he made some mistakes too. He made a few really poor throws. There was in the first half, he had an easy throw to DJ Moore out wide, past the first baseline, past the first down marker. And it was like low and away. Yeah, like you said, it was a changeup, tailing down and away. DJ Moore had no chance. You got to give him those chances. There was another throw to Roshan Johnson in the flat, which he made the check down. He made the right decision, but it was a terrible throw. For the most part, though, like I trust Caleb Williams to be a good quarterback now and in the future. Nothing that you do today with coaches is going to change that shitty offensive line. So get rid of anyone that you want, promote anyone you want. What's going to change when you have 6 healthy offensive linemen and 4 of them stink?
Coaching matters. So let's go back to Eberflus, who, by the way, kept Chris Morgan as offensive line coach, who shouldn't have been in that position at all to begin with. So Matt Eberflus, he's lost 4 historic losses. Those 4 historic losses have been in the 90th percentile to win the game in the double digit. Right, I'm getting that. 3 of those 4 came in the last year. So going into this offseason, as soon as you got the first pick, knew you're going to draft Caleb Williams. Why are you keeping Eberflus to go with him as a pair going forward? That makes absolutely no sense. And going into this season, and that continued, and what we just saw in that 4th one, and not even just that game, but we've seen countless over and over again, he doesn't know when to throw a challenge flag or call a timeout, holds no one accountable, and keeps this offensive line coach who hasn't developed anyone on the offensive line. And that includes Darnell Wright, a top pick of an offensive lineman. He's actually regressed.
So scheme has a lot to do with that.
Yes, and
That's on Waldron.
but it's also the offensive line coach because he's in charge of the run scheme and their system, and he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. So this all, and again, Poles had the opportunity to make change, but that's his boy, and he kept him. Kevin Warren didn't want Eberflus to be kept, but he allowed Poles to have that choice. Poles kept,
Is
yes.
this reported somewhere by who?
Unreported, but very close. Very close connection to that.
So you're saying you're reporting this right now.
No, I mean, it's been
So you're saying
reported.
Kevin Warren wanted Eberflus out.
It's been reported before.
Well, I just asked you if it was reported. You said no.
It's been reported. Not by me, but by others that have that information. This is not the first time that this has been said. That's what I'm trying to tell you, Slav. So, with that being told, we saw last week what happened. They kept the coaching staff. Clearly, this is Pole's guy. He's not going to make a change. This comes down to Kevin Warren. And again, what are you going to do? And I just gave you a reason of who's going to replace Poles, and it's the guy that's right underneath him. Why do I feel that way? Let's go back to draft night. At the 5th pick, when the Chargers picked Alt, who's the guy that's convicted that Poles was looking at, asking him, hey, is our guy still going to be there? Cunningham looked at him and said, yes. The probability, he's still going to be there. It's right on the coverage, Slav. That whole coverage of the, I forgot, was it the NFL Network? So, hold on.
My point is, you're basing this entire opinion off of a 3-minute video from the War Room. Do you know how many other conversations are had before that?
It shows you the conviction of the difference between the two.
They
So,
had the same conviction. They both wanted the same.
no. But right after he said that, the next pick, he looked at him. He's like, hey, we can still trade up. And Cunningham looked at him and said, no, we're staying where we're at. The probability we're still going to get our guy. If Cunningham wasn't there, Poles would have likely traded up using more resources to get that guy when he didn't need to. And if you got people in that building that know the difference between the two of them, one would side with the other. And why would you allow Cunningham, like you said, Slavko, why would you allow Cunningham to leave? We've seen countless others leave the Bears organization, even though we could have promoted within. Why are we going? I mean, Ballard's just off the tap.
That's one along.
Just off the top of my head, but that's one right off the top of my head. I'm not well diverse into everyone that has left, but that's one right off the top of my head that I can think of. But again, that's just my theory. I'd rather have a guy with conviction and not leave. Granted, I get what you're saying. You can also think of it like this, right? Allow them to go and you get 2, 3, or 4th rounders, whatever the compensation is for the minority GM leaving or the minority position, wherever that policy was that the NFL made. Sure, you can go with that, but I'd rather keep the guy that has the conviction and is showing us what he can do just being on the side. Because like you're saying earlier, we've had this past offseason was the second year that Poles is starting to turn over that roster. For the most part, I liked what he's done. I agree with you on the personnel side, but on the coaching side, a lot of those decisions fall on him. And again, just my opinion, I just see a guy right now that's really indecisive, and I'd rather have the guy that has conviction to be in that spot.
Okay, this is my last thought on this because now I'm frustrated. How can you say someone doesn't have conviction when they want to go up and trade the guy that they absolutely have to have in Robodunze? How is that not conviction? Just because someone talked you out of potentially trading some assets to go up and get him, yes, he should trust Ian Cunningham. That's why he's the assistant GM. He's asking him for his input. Ian Cunningham didn't make the decision. If Poles really wanted to go trade for him, he would have. Cunningham can tell him no all you want, but he's the assistant GM. Ryan Poles makes that decision. When it comes to, well, I mean, he's got to run things by Kevin Warren. That situation is different. Hey, are we okay if we had to give up X amount of assets or pay X amount more? That's not ultimately Warren's decision, but Poles has to get that input. That's why a healthy front office has those discussions where Poles was saying basically, talk me out of trading for him because they both wanted him. That's conviction. You can't say, I just don't understand how you can say Cunningham has the conviction when his conviction was stay put. He should be there. Where Poles said he might not be there. Let's go make our move and go get our guy, which they end up getting anyway. So, I mean, that's great. But like Ian Cunningham wasn't sitting there going, the Falcons are going to take a quarterback. He had no idea, just like everybody else was like, what?
I think the Michael Penix pick really rearranged the draft board. 100%. And as much as Ryan Poles makes me sick to my stomach right now, he did an outstanding job overhauling the roster, period. Like literally cutting the dead cap, cutting the dead weight, adding some talent. I just feel like the Chicago Bears right now is an all-star team that has trouble with personnel. You notice they don't even like to huddle up anymore because they don't even know the line changes. Imagine if the Chicago Bears was on Hockey Time. We'll be getting blown off the ice every rip, every shift change.
I agree with the conviction. From your sense, I understand the conviction side on that side of it. But what I'm saying is the other guy is more calm, collected to make that decision. Where let's just say your side. Hold up. The way that you just said that. If you trade up, use more resources, why are you using more resources when there's more holes to be filled on the offensive line, which those resources are going to be high resources that you need to get them within the first 3 rounds. 3 of your picks coming up are likely going to be the first, they're going to be 3 of the first 40 picks probably. So why are you wasting resources trading up when the guy right there is telling you, stay put, we're going to get our guy?
But he doesn't know for a fact that they're going to get their guy.
I mean, it seemed like he did because the calculation with what the team needs,
the same calculations. It's all,
and they're all talking with teams, seeing where, and they're all doing their mock drafts of where teams are going to go and who they're going to get. You can argue it like you just said, they came 1 pick away with the Atlanta pick. But what I'm saying is, they were thinking about trading at the Giants pick at 6. Way ahead than they needed to be.
But the Giants took a receiver.
That was the first or the second one off the board,
receiver,
right? But
so they didn't know
the intel they had was it was going to be neighbors. That's what they were saying in the draft room. So right then and there, right after that pick, they thought that he was going to go. Was that Tennessee at 7?
I think so.
That's where Poles. Yeah, let's get back on topic. But at the end of the day,
y'all in love with Ryan Poles.
Yeah,
Yeah, talking about these losers. Nobody. Look, let me tell you something. The Bears have had coaching and offensive line issues before Ryan Poles. They have had coaching and offensive line problems before Ryan Pace. I think we are cursed. Gabriel Silva was right. Gabe the Great, he's the GOAT. He was right. The Bears are cursed. There's no way. You just got quietly blown out at Soldier Field on Veterans Day weekend. Do you not have any shame? How can you like this? That's why they built the stadium. Literally, you haven't scored a touchdown all month. I don't know when the next time Caleb Williams throws a touchdown. Does he throw a touchdown in this calendar year? Does anybody know? Green Bay, Detroit, Minnesota. Good defenses against a bad offensive line. We're going to get outcoached. I don't even need to bring up special teams. We're cooked. Done. The season is over. We went 9 games into Caleb Williams' first year to throw it away. It's sad, but it's the reality if you're a Bears fan. I don't even know why I'm surprised. I've been here before. I'll probably be here again.
Well, the good news is the other team we're going to talk about today is coming off of a historically awful season in which they lost 121 games. So it only gets better from here. Jay's just going to have a little stroke real quick. So that is topic number 2, since we have nothing left to say about the Bears because they suck. But also sucking is the Chicago White Sox, and that's why you're here. They've named a new manager, Will Venable. The good news is I feel like across White Sox fandom, this one is more well-received than Pedro Grifol. The bad news is everyone hates Chris Getz already, and this is a Chris Getz decision. But then I think people are a little torn because they seem to have gone out and did the smartest decision, which is what everybody thought they were supposed to do when AJ Hinch was available, right? Will Venable, long playing career, has been involved in winning organizations as a coach, played or coached under Alex Cora, and then Bruce Bochy, yes. My one concern, and I didn't realize this until this morning, we always talked for the last year and a half or whatever since Chris Getz took over about the Chicago Royals and all the ties to the shitty Kansas City teams. Dayton Moore is a senior advisor for the Texas Rangers. And I saw a quote from a Scott Merkin article about how Dayton Moore, I don't know if he was heavily involved per se, but sold Will Venable's abilities and his talent and future managerial skill to Chris Getz and the White Sox. Obviously, we heard about Dayton Moore linked with the White Sox and Chris Getz a year ago, and ultimately that didn't happen, but that scared me a little bit. But everyone else across the board seems to be pretty positive about Will Venable taking over this team. My question to Will Venable, and he answered it ish in the Zoom press conference they had on Halloween, and then his official introductory press conference a couple days ago. I mean, there's really nothing to love about the situation. He thanked Jerry. He thanked Chris Getz. He thanked, kind of the same coach speak that you hear every time someone gets hired. Oh, we just clicked right away, and we knew and once we saw him in person that this was going to be the right hire and blah, blah, blah. To me, I think this is Will Venable saying, this is my first and best opportunity to prove my skills as a manager. You take over a 41-win team, it's hard to get worse. So naturally, he's going to go and do a job next year. Let's say they win 55 games, 60 games. Somehow they don't lose 100. Everyone's going to go, this guy's legit. And the next job opening that's worth a shit, he's gone. This is a tryout. Just like Grady Sizemore, everybody thought his 30 days or whatever it was as manager of the White Sox, which it sounds like they're going to keep Grady Sizemore on the staff too, which I think a lot of White Sox fans liked. But to me, this is just opportunity A, where it cannot possibly get worse. So there's really no losing if you're Will Venable, right, in this situation. You can't go lose 122 games. It'd be almost difficult. And I think we'd all probably cut our heads off if that happened a year from now. And we're sitting here talking about a 122 loss team. But in general, I'm hopeful. But I have learned, and Pedro Grifol taught me something I will never forget. Do not buy anything that they are selling on day one, because they're all going to say the same shit. You have to do it. You have to go through with it. Actions speak louder than words. By all accounts, Will Venable will make those actions and put them in play. But if you don't have talent, it's hard to win. But if you don't have talent, that doesn't mean you cannot play hard. And the White Sox for the last couple of years have not played hard, regardless of the manager. Pedro Grifol said a whole lot of nice things that everybody was like, well, here we go, day one. It didn't really work. They were not prepared. They didn't beat anyone's ass. They didn't do any of the things that he said. He could have came out and just said, hey, we're going to suck and be the worst team in the history of Major League Baseball. And it would have been more accurate than literally any other word that came out of his mouth that day. So I'm hopeful for Will Venable, but when you have a crappy roster of players, you're going to be a crappy baseball team. I hope that they play hard. I hope that they play clean baseball. Chris Getz talked about fixing the clubhouse last year and all the defensive improvements. It was the same shit. So I want to see Will Venable come in and actually put some of those words and make it visible on the field. I have a hard time imagining they'll lose 122 next year. they're probably still going to lose 100 games, but at least there's some young players. What? You don't think they're going to lose 100 games?
100? Listen to me. With all due respect to Will Venable, very nice guy. He was a good professional outfielder. He's the literal worst hire you could have made out of the candidates that you publicly told me. Why the hell did you pass up Phil Nevin? Why? He had, yeah.
Okay. Why?
Because he already had managerial experience, a good hitter, manly, a hyper masculinity. He will get in your face, tell somebody that they need to do their job. That's where the White Sox need to step away from. Stop trying to play well with others, and worry about playing well on the fucking field. You just got destroyed. You were the worst team in MLB history. Your owner doesn't care. The GM is lying to the fans because the GM played for us. I remember. Hell, the GM was basically Will Venable, except Will Venable had 12 more home runs in a season. The White Sox have to get out of this mode of being just okay, everybody being comfortable in the locker room. How the hell are you comfortable getting your head busted 6 months a year? It's impossible. Nobody, listen, everybody has one ass, and I can't keep getting it kicked all year. Stop. This Will Venable hire was a mistake. A big fucking mistake. That's it.
I have one follow-up question.
Yeah.
If Phil Nevin was such a no-brainer, why didn't it work previously?
Bad teams, Mike Trout.
The White Sox are a bad team without Mike Trout. So how is that going to get better?
Phil Nevin can walk up to somebody and ask them to do their job. If I played for
that work for the Angels?
The Angels don't care about winning.
And the White Sox love winning.
One more than the Angels.
When?
I mean, from 2005, the White Sox have won more playoff games than the Los Angeles Angels. A low bar, but it's the truth. I just don't want Mr. Nice Guy managing a team that was the worst in history. It's hard to improve.
This is a good opportunity to remind all of our viewers and listeners.
Look at that.
We've got giveaways, including an Ozzie Guillen signed autographed portrait. Very good defensive player. We have 2 balls, also signed by Ozzie Guillen. Jesus Christ. Collectively, we have 2 balls.
Baseball. Hold them together.
And Jay's favorite team, the Chicago Bears, we got a couple T-shirts, and then we've got this pretty sick jacket, like a puffy jacket. So Gonzo's going to decide how we're going to give these away. But I think this is essentially what Jay is getting at, is that we want someone who's hardcore and badass like Ozzie Guillen, not Mr. Nice Guy, apparently, like Will Venable.
Will, if you're listening to me,
He's not.
this is a big city. Barbers everywhere. Find a good barber. Ray the barber. _Powell on X or Twitter, whatever you call it. He can help you. Please.
This is the moment everyone's been waiting for. Chris Gonzalez, your thoughts on Will Venable? Thank you for your thoughts. God damn.
All right. I mean, obviously, I agree the most part. What you're saying is we can all hear
Which one?
with what you said, Slavko. I could care less about Phil Nevin. Slavko, you were talking about all the pre-words we've heard over the past 2 years with Grifol. And we've heard it more in the press conference, not only from Will, but from Chris himself. We don't care about what's said. We care about what the product is on the field. Obviously, that's going to be more so Gats putting that all together. But at least when it comes to finding someone from a championship or, winning organizations, from originally the original criteria for before they hired Grifol, then they hired Grifol because of the Kansas City team back in 2015 was that, or 14 or whatever. But now we actually got a guy from coaching experience, from the resume, started from that team with the Cubs in 15, and then with the Boston from, 17 to 19?
18 and 19 with the Cubs. It was much more recent, 1920.
Okay, I thought it was Red Sox in that.
2 years each.
Yeah, well, anyways, you go from Alex Cora to Bruce Bochy. Clearly 2 winning organizations there, so he's got that background coming from those cultures. And listen, who was Bruce Bochy's first coach hire? Will Venable. And I think that's carries a lot of weight with all the personnel out there to make a selection. You're getting the guy who he only known of him playing against him across the field to bring him into his culture right off the bat. Obviously, he knows more to him, and it showed through that championship experience that they had the year prior. Look, we'll see what culture he can bring here. It's going to take a lot. I wish him all the best, but clearly I need to see what decisions he makes on the diamond. And like I said prior on Twitter, I didn't question a whole lot about Sizemore really at all. I can't really think of a time I really questioned him in those 30 games, and it was a short sample size. But we'll see what Will does at the helm here. Jay, go ahead.
I'm not going to give Will Venable any credit for the Texas Rangers, and I'll tell you why. It was Bruce Bochy's team. It was basically a very expensive one-hit wonder. And if you look at what the Texas Rangers have done immediately after the World Series, they're in decline, and they're probably going to get worse this year because they still doesn't have a rotation. I could make the argument right now that we just gave Will Venable roses for literally the beginning of the downfall of the Texas Rangers. Literally. I can promise you that the Texas Rangers probably won't finish above 500 next year. And Will Venable had his fingerprints all on that roster in the DNA. None of the young kids got better. A lot of their stars that was under contract got worse. None of their pitchers got developed. They didn't really play good defense. I mean, what can you say? They didn't run the bases well. The Rangers was, let's just say middle to lower tier in stolen bases. Where did he have his fingerprints on besides having Corey Seager and Adolis Garcia in the lineup? What did it do?
So essentially you're asking, is that what y'all want?
You're not going to do that. Hey, I'm not going to lie. Slavko's not going to let you people live that down. He's not going to let you live that. I got thrown in it too. I mean, I do want a World Series.
I was wrong, obviously. Like, who would have guessed that a team that lost 200 games over the course of 2 years would turn around and win a World Series? It certainly wasn't me. Yes, obviously, they went out and but they won the World Series. Like, I was wrong. Ultimately, it's worth every penny if you go out and win one chip. It does not matter what happens after that. Trust me. Like, ask any Michigan Wolverine football fan. Ask anyone who's won a championship in recent years. You get such a grace period after that. You go all in, you put your chips all in, you win one, everyone's happy. The Rangers could go 60 and 100 for the next 5 years. Ultimately, they'll get far enough away, just like the White Sox did. Remember 06, like 90 wins, that's great. Oh, but like we were the third best team in the division. It's okay. Those two other teams played really well. Like, we'll get them next year. And then 08 happens, or 07 happens, like the worst season ever out of nowhere. 08, they're back, and everyone's like, oh, okay, like everything's fine. But then what happened? 9, 10, 11, 12, and ultimately when Ozzie got out of there, like it got toxic. And then from there, everyone went back to like square one. Like, all right, we got to go back in and get back to that promised land. So the Rangers are still in the honeymoon period. And I think they still have enough young pieces and enough, I guess, aggressiveness in their front office and ownership backing to go get better and continue to compete. I don't see them just falling off the map. With that said, you can't blame him for the downfall in 24, but not give him any credit for 23 and 22. The other thing, to your point, Gonzo, he didn't get hired as a bench coach or hitting coach or first base coach. He was the assistant manager or associate manager, whatever the title was. That's different. That means something. The White Sox could have gone out and got AJ Hinch. They could have gone out and got Bruce Bochy. They could have gone out and got Cora. It was between Hinch and Corey. I don't think Cora ever really wanted to come here. Actually, I mean, I know he didn't ever want to come here, but they're seemingly righting the wrongs of the last 5 years, which I think is just what White Sox fans want to see. I'll give credit. Sounds like he went through a very thorough process. Said it was 60 candidates down to 20, down to the final 5 that they had interviewed in person, and Venable just kind of sold them from there. So I appreciate their thoroughness. The one good thing is that I haven't seen Tony La Russa's name tossed around as like,
why is that not good? Why is that like?
I don't care about what Tony La Russa has to say anymore when it comes to baseball. I didn't hear a lot of like input from a lot of outside sources within the organization. Let me rephrase that. I didn't hear a lot of input from people like La Russa and Reinsdorf in the process. Getz made it a point like multiple times in that first Zoom presser to mention we went outside of the organization to get opinions. We went outside of the organizations and we worked on the networks and stuff outside of the organization to ultimately come to this group of candidates that whittle down to the guy that they chose in Will Venable. To me, that's at least progress. Whether it's accurate or what, outside sources, if they're going to the same Joe Schmoes with the Royals, that doesn't help. Obviously, Dayton Moore sounds like he was probably consulted in some capacity. By the way, Quesabirria tacos here at Little Joe's, so good. Gonzo's just been really quiet, which is something I always like because he's eating the tacos. I love you. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, we can talk about the manager all we want. We could talk about this door to the bathroom all we want, but unless something happens on the field, like, it doesn't really matter. You can say all you want. Actions speak louder than words. I'm more hopeful with Venable than I would be with Nevin. For selfish reasons, I wanted the other guy from the Guardians. I'm blanking on his name.
Craig Albanez, was it?
You're probably going to butcher it. Rami Gonzalez would have been a great hire as manager. But, I mean, I'm hopeful, but it doesn't mean anything if the roster still sucks and Chris Getz can't put together a team and your owner is not going to invest. Just like Ryan Poles didn't invest in the offensive line to protect Caleb Williams. If your owner doesn't invest in quality players on the roster, your manager can't do jack shit.
And I guess I'm just a little afraid because Pedro Gafal ruined my life because
that's why I said don't listen to anything that they say.
Yeah, because they sold me on the Royals' success. Like, we bring in Will Venable. Like, obviously he has a little bit more recent success. I just don't want us to get caught up into, he's the reason why XYZ won. Maybe we should expect those same results. There is no force on earth or heaven that could help Will Venable get the White Sox over 500. There's a lot that needs to be done to get us back to that point. Like, the international market's a sham. Like, for the White Sox right now, the minor league system. I don't even know if we got a hitter that's worth going to watch on YouTube right now, and outside of George Wolcott, but he's a goddamn Avenger.
He's 19.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Will Venable, you do not have Yohan Moncada to save you this season. It's going to be tough sledding, buddy. I wish you the best, but more importantly, I wish you were Phil Nevin.
You're not going to slide that in there and just pretend we're going to ignore that. You got any? So before we finish with the White Sox, did you have anything else on Venable? I do want to hit on Crochet at some point, and the plans that Chris Getz has for this team this winter is.
Yeah, it's more so Getz.
Okay, all right. Well, then let's move off of Will Venable because Jay hates him and Gonzo loves him, and I'm in the middle asking for work. Yes, asking for things to just be better. Reports this week: Garrett Crochet. I don't know if expected is the right term, but potentially to be traded by the end of the winter meetings. Sounds like the Phillies are involved. The Dodgers are involved. The Mets have been thrown around a lot. I think the Red Sox name has been thrown around a lot. There will be many suitors. Did I say Phillies? Phillies will be in there too. Pretty much any team that's like even mediocre or better is probably going to be interested in Garrett Crochet.
It's damn near probably 25 teams.
25 teams. One of them not being the White Sox, apparently. Though they think they might be able to get.
None of my business, my body, my choice.
You totally made me lose my train of thought. Garrett Crochet. So everyone in the world wants Garrett Crochet. The White Sox are going to try to turn around as many assets as possible for him. Gonzo, I know at least you were on the mindset of keep him, sign him to an extension. Exactly right. Ray's saying it. He's gone. There's no way Garrett Crochet is on this team unless the White Sox hold a high bar and they say, I'm not going to trade him just to trade him. He still has 2 full seasons of control, which works in their benefit. He's still young. He pitched really well throughout the season. He's seemingly, knock on wood, healthy. Every team that's a contender is going to be interested in bringing him on. The fact that he's a lefty only makes it even better. So the question is, do you trust Chris Getz to make the right decision? Because to this day, if I'm not mistaken, you are still upset at the return for Dylan Cease, which fair, still TBD on all the pieces and what happens. You can't grade a draft a year or the day after it happens. You disagree with Gonzo? On the return. So Ray likes the return. So I want your answer to, will Chris Getz make the right trade for Garrett Crochet? And I guess part 2 would be, do you even want them to trade Crochet in the first place?
So ultimately, there was a time I did want Cease extended. That has come and gone. And because he was traded, the possibility of Crochet being extended has gone too. There was a time for it, but it's not anymore.
Why?
Well, if they extended Cease, then they would have put a window for competing, building upon that, which they obviously made that decision a year ago.
I don't understand.
Wait.
Keep going.
Okay. Oh, what do you understand?
Cease doesn't have anything to do with their current window. He's gone. It doesn't mean anything.
No, what I'm saying was they've already are on the journey of going through the rebuild.
Right.
So why
I have
would
an idea of when they'll compete again?
Right, but that's what I'm saying is there was a time when I still believed in making a contention window with Cease to extend them to extend that window, but I'm long gone over that because again, once I saw that they were making those conversations to putting him on the table, that's when they were beginning the rebuild. And to truly go, this is what I really harper here. You still have value. If you're going through a rebuild, you can't cut corners. You have to cut every value you have left. And you have Crochet and Robert left. But a lot of people are pushing this whole rebuild happens quickly, and they can still keep these value guys that are left and keep going with it when you can't. You haven't even finished making trades of that value that's left to truly go on that next step to get coming out of the rebuild, because you need to trade as much value as you can, and then once the value that you get back, seeing however long that takes, once they hit the major leagues, seeing which of those guys stick before you can determine, all right, we got to fill holes with our structured cap. We're not even close to that yet. We still have 2 main value guys left, and a lot of people are ignoring, well, at least the Robert side of it. But I'm totally, at this point, obviously we know they're in a rebuild now. I'm not even thinking about an extension of Crochet, even though White Sox Twitter right now is really indecisive on that. But I agree with what you're saying. Do we trust Chris Getz? And you brought up my whole C side of it. So ultimately, I'm going to say no. However, when I did thought about these teams that have the value that I would really hope to consider in these trades, Boston was one I didn't think at the time of the trade deadline really looking into. But when I heard last second that they were the dark horse with including a deal with Crochet and Benintendi, I was like, hold up. That's an interesting thought. And then going to this offseason, when I went more in depth with the side of the position player value, which Chris Getz highlighted, I really think Boston up there with the Dodgers, I think those are 2 teams that you have to be talking to. And I've been mentioning all along, ultimately, I would want them to trade with Boston. So when I started seeing the reports, after I made the tweet about the Boston Red Sox, a couple of days after that is when all of the sources from Nightingale and them were talking about the Boston Red Sox. I was like, okay, well, at least Chris Getz is going down the right alley. Whether or not he can negotiate, this is the key part for me. He's going into the second offseason, and he hasn't really, in my opinion, negotiated a deal I felt worth value. The only one I can think of is the Eloy deal with that relief pitcher they brought back for Eloy. But ultimately, a big impacted value deal like a Crochet, I'm not sure he has the experience to negotiate to that level without getting, I'm not going to say fleeced, but I can't see him winning the deal unless he can straight up be a savage and go and call up Baltimore in that same division and say, hey, if you're not going to give us what we want, you can face them multiple times a year in the same division. Good luck. Or I got the Dodgers on the phone. good luck at winning a championship because, oh, by the way, if you don't get Crochet, the Los Angeles Dodgers are about to sign Roki Sasaki. So good luck with your contention in the World Series against them. And you guess it's going to have to be a complete savage to get the deal that is deserved for a Crochet deal, in my opinion. And we can get into that. But one of the things I did want to bring up before we transitioned was I can talk so much shit about Getz, but I do want to give him one, I guess, benefit is ultimately when you're putting this organization together, you got to put some legit coordinators and staff together. And last time I can actually think we've had a legit staff was in the Ozzie days with a Greg Walker as your hitting coach, with Don Cooper as your pitching coach. But think about it. Like everyone in between hasn't been to that even level. Now we're bringing back. Hold up. Now we got
Charlie Montoya was God's gift to baseball a year ago.
What?
You wanted him to take over the managerial role
as an interterm?
Yes.
No, OJ brought that up. He did.
No.
So, yeah, that was definitely not me.
Yeah. Okay.
Regardless, bringing Bannister in and what's the guy from the Baltimore? Fuller. I could be skeptical, but I feel like those are some legit guys coming to this organization. So hopefully the tables are turning. We're gonna get some at least legit coaching staff in. Like we're about to get here into these decisions on the personnel side of it. That's the biggest part to this is the product being put on that field.
To your point, I think he also let go of Marco Patti with the international scouting, which I think you were calling for his head for a long time. So I guess credit to Getz for that. That was also OJ. Okay, I think Gonzo's just making shit up. I could have swore he was all about Montoya, but what you got?
No, I was gonna say it was a couple of guys. It was Montoya and the guy from Kansas City, Quintaro, that we talked. Quintaro, yeah. I thought he was with Kansas City.
He is now. He was with the Rays.
Okay, yeah. I think those were the two names that we were talking about. I'm kind of the fantasy baseball GM, but I don't want Chris Getz to make the mistake of sending Crochet and Luis Robert in the same deal. That's the one thing that I can't happen. Slav, I want to ask you, do you think there's a chance that, let's just say we get that deal done with Boston if Getz sends Luis Robert and Crochet?
To me, I wouldn't make the trade where it's 2-for-1 unless you're getting an absolute killing. Like you would have to say, to me, the only team that can make that trade is Baltimore with the prospects and the chips that they have. You're just better off maximizing those assets in return by splitting up a trade between Robert and Crochet. If you want to get Crochet and a reliever or another piece, like just as a sweetener to get that prospect that you really want, you do that. But to me, you do not go and say, we got Luis Robert, we got Garrett Crochet, give me your best package, because then you're done. What after that? You're not going to trade anything else. You got nothing else to lean on other than the 10th or 11th pick or whatever the hell this in this next draft. So to me, you don't go in unless someone totally floors you saying, I want those two and we're willing to give up X, Y, and Z. And you say X, Y, and Z is what I need anyway. That's one thing, but I just don't see that happening. Apparently you have to be a savage to make that trade. I don't see Chris Getz from a smart standpoint going, we're better off getting all these assets. Although that 3-way trade that he made at the deadline, that I don't know, I still can't really wrap my head around what the hell he did with that, with the Cardinals giving up nothing. Yeah. For Fetty. But that's why I'm saying trade Robert to one team that's desperate for a bat, trade Crochet to another team desperate for a arm, and maximize the assets you get in return. I still don't trust that he's going to make the right trade. But I'm not sitting here watching A-ball highlights pretending like I know what the hell I'm talking about, because our opinion, your opinion, his opinion, Ray's opinion, anyone's opinion of these prospects is so far away from any scouts or analytics that all these organizations have now internally. We might think so-and-so from the Orioles, who's the number 4 prospect on MLB pipeline, is God's gift to baseball. And most teams around Major League Baseball might go, that guy has a huge swing flaw and he will never hit in the majors. So he's, bless you. See, in Serbian we say istinaye. Istinaye, it means it's the truth. From his sneeze to God's ears. You see, exactly. Moncada sucks. That was what he said in his sneeze there. The point is, evaluation is not the same across the board. Just like evaluation of your own team is not the same. You might think Garrett Crochet is an ace. There's other teams out there that might say, I like him in our rotation as a number 3, but we don't view him long-term as a guy who's going to pitch 200 innings every year and be a number 1 guy and make 30-plus starts. Maybe not along the lines of a Dylan Cease, but you cannot argue Dylan Cease's durability in Major League Baseball to this point. And obviously, he had a great year and finished really strong with the Pods. So, top 3 in the NL, that's great for him.
Dylan Cease is one of the few pitchers in White Sox uniform that didn't get hurt, and he was one of the first ones to leave. Like, that's kind of weird to me. Like, you got to rock, right? Yeah, Dylan has his flaws, sure, but look at the organization right now. Dylan Cease will still be the best arm in the organization. All about money. I would still think Dylan Cease will be better than Garrett as far as like talent wise. Dylan Cease will still be the best pitcher in this organization right now. But to your point, the White Sox aren't in a position to keep him as the best arm in the organization. So they had to make a secondary move. To your point, Slavko, because a lot of these mock trades that people are sending on the internet got Garrett Crochet and Luis Robert in the same deal. A lot of those people think we're just going to send both of these guys and just rob MLB pipeline, because that's all they're doing. They're just calculating the talent and just going straight to pipeline. Oh, Luis Robert and Garrett Crochet, that's 2 out of your top 10 prospects right there automatically. How? What if people don't need a Luis Robert? Like, if you put Luis Robert in any of the lineups that made the playoffs, would he even be the 3rd best hitter in the lineup?
What Luis Robert did that screwed himself and the White Sox was totally check out of last season way early. So now teams are looking and saying, okay, well, he's had all the talent in the world. He has all the tools. He's only put it together for 1 full season, and even that wasn't like a full season. So now you got a guy who's on this contract you're going to owe a lot of money to, has all the tools in the world, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy. And now he's proving to you that he doesn't play hard every day. Was it him? Was it Montoya where he didn't know the bench coach's name? I mean, like, that's embarrassing. That's an organizational failure that you're allowing this guy to just walk in and out of the clubhouse every single day and not know who his coaches are. That doesn't mean, obviously, that he's having conversations with them every day or going through drills and workouts or whatever. But, like, it's a major red flag to every team that goes to the White Sox in a trade discussion saying, yeah, I'd like 30 home runs and 30 steals and 100 RBIs on paper, theoretically, hypothetically, from Luis Robert on my team. But what am I going to give you for a guy who checks out when the things get tough, or when he does play hard, he can't stay healthy to save his life, and he's got all these soft tissue injuries nonstop, and like he doesn't work hard, and he's not the smartest kid? Like, what are you going to get? Like, he's still an asset that you have to trade. But to me, putting those two together in a trade does you no good. If you're going out to get that one prospect, that one chip, okay, you traded Crochet and Robert to go get him. You're not, but you're not one chip away. No. One player, one prospect isn't going to make the White Sox a contender next year by trading Crochet and Luis Robert in one trade to go get that one prospect. If anything, putting eggs in one basket makes it so much more volatile that if that one egg cracks and doesn't hit, you're screwing yourself even more and delaying your next contention window, whoever the hell knows when that might be, even more. I just don't see any wisdom to trading those two together.
And another thing, too, we got to look at the landscape of the American League Central. The division is not trash anymore. It's not. Kansas City's going to be good. Detroit is up and coming. Cleveland doesn't know how to lose. And then just Minnesota, who probably has the best offense in the division, is the fourth best team. Like, look at what we're up against, and we're talking about a team that just lost 120 games. You could be 500 in American League Central and probably finish 3.5 to 4th place. Crazy, bro. And then now I'm about to crash out. Now I got to crash out because you give me a 680 OPS in a full season, which I couldn't guarantee from you. The meetings are optional. You're checked out. You're viral on TikTok, but you're a liability in the batter's box. You're the only Gold Glove outfielder without any outfield assists. That's a flaw too. I mean, we could go down the line. You're the type of base runner. You don't check your outfielders on the base paths. Go ahead. You got something?
The one thing going for Robert is that he had zero protection last year. There is no reason ever, not that the White Sox were in many close games, but there is no reason to ever give him anything to hit. Number one, he's going to swing at everything anyway. But if there's runners on base or there's someone behind him that you're like, shoot, we can't let both these guys get good pitches to hit. Like, we got to take one or the other. Like, they're just not going to take a chance with Luis Robert. Just go for Gavin Sheet, whoever the hell was behind him. There's no one in that lineup that anyone had to worry about other than him last year.
You don't even have to throw Luis Robert a strike. Like, he has the most speed in the organization. He has elite sprint speed, not just acceleration, but sprint speed as well. You mean to tell me that you can't give me 30 bags? Like, teams don't even look at him when he's on first base because they know he's not going to get a good secondary. He's not going to get a good jump on the lead because he's not paying attention to the pitcher's leg. It's like the small details in the game of baseball eludes him, and it keeps him from reaching his ceiling. It's the same conversation we had with Justin Fields. It's the same conversation we had with Zach LaVine about how to operate within an offense at the combo guard level. There's things that you got to do. You have to be in the meetings. You have to go to practice. Like, I guarantee you that Luis Robert is swinging with square at batting practice every session. No directional hitting. No trying to go line to line. Just, I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to take these ego swings. Okay. And you feel good about a 600 OPS through 136 games.
Gonzo apparently has some, I don't know if it's breaking news, but some reporting about the Crochet and Boston situation.
Yeah, so it came out on Twitter this past weekend that, yeah, I know. So some Boston journalists put out there from the winter meetings when they were interviewing Breslow, the GM of Boston. They said what they're looking for a top arm in the deal is they want to give up a MLB bat, one of their top 4 prospects, and then a developmental pick. So in the White Sox situation, right, when Chris Getz is trying to, he said it straight up in the winter meetings that in this deal for Crochet, he wants to get position players back, some bats back. So what we talked about before, Jay, and when OJ was with us too, and Slav, I know it's been a little bit, but we brought up last time how building the future here and then this deal for a potential Crochet deal, you want to build up the middle of the diamond because at this moment, all we have is Cuero for the long picture. We got nothing really ideal at shortstop and second base. Truly, I know you can go back and forth on Montgomery if you believe that he's a legit prospect. I know OJ feels, and I do as well, feel like he's a potential bust. But shortstop, second base, center field. If Robert gets dealt, that's part of the up the middle that you're going to have to build upon. But at this current moment, right, you really don't have anything in the outfield because Ben Tenney will be gone. We got nothing in right field at the moment. Big picture, your boy Wolkow, you can slide him somewhere in the outfield, but again, that's unproven.
Still 3 years.
But that's 3 years. Yeah, that's just you just pencil him in. You're not going to put him in Sharpie. He's going to be here, right? So when we're building up the middle in these deals, you're going to start looking at these Boston packages and their system. And
you like Jacob Gonzalez?
I do, but again, he's unproven.
Who's proven?
The only one that I believe I'm talking about our system in that conversation. All we have is Cuero's the only one that literally has.
He's not proven either.
Well, I'm talking about in the system. He's the only one with linear progression. Again, this is based on the slash line and his production, but he's the only one in our system that has proven to have linear progression to this point, which is a big issue. And we already know it was because we've already looked at our farm system and say, hey, we've already had our, now I'm blanking on Elijah, we had him on to break down our farm system with us. And we've said it flat out. Our system's based on pitching right now. Yeah, you have a name here and there. Like you got Cuero, you got Gonzalez, you got Montgomery, Wolkow. But besides that, and we just drafted Caleb Bonemaker in the second round. But really, to this point, this is why when it's not like a surprise when Chris Getz says we're going to be training for position players, because that's what we need to fill the system up, because we can't draft nor develop that position for over a decade. So why I said I want Boston is because I'm looking at their system. The position players that they have and their system, I think, is the best in the MLB. And I think Milwaukee is actually in there as well. And I would put the Seattle Marner system in there as well. Dodgers, it's like in the packages that I was looking at, I could probably put a piece or two in the position player, but then I start looking at pitching because it's not as deep as truly believed. But again, I posted my trade package on Twitter, and I set I put the 2 balls.
Yeah.
So
That was your
package. But the tweet I posted was where I set the bar, not where I see it being finalized. I know a lot of people were reading right past that, but I think at the end of the day, what I would like to see, I'll give my final prediction of what I would love to see happen, it would be
Those are 2 different things.
What?
Your final prediction of what you would love to see happen, those are 2 different things.
Well, like the complete deal after being negotiated, what I think it could be.
Okay.
That bat that they wanted, they've been talking about Abreu, and I'd gladly take Wilyer Abreu right now. Not only just as a lot of people, the flack about Abreu is he finished as a platoon player, but that was a loaded outfield. He's not an everyday. I mean, he would be an everyday right fielder for us. Not only his bat, which he was a 2020 player, if I remember right, from last season, but it brings a Gold Glove that he just won in right field. So he's a 2-way player right then and there that can fit. We haven't had a glove like that, and besides Robert, in right field, we haven't had that in years. But besides that, so the package they put out there, that's the bat. The top 4 prospect, the one that I would key in on is Christian Campbell. He's a second base shortstop. I think he'd be more so the second base player for us. I know, Jay, you might go back and forth on that one, but that's, again, filling up a need right up the middle. And truly, I feel like he's one of the best really out there at that position as far as middle infield. And then that developmental player, I would look at the shortstop that they have and Franklin Arias, 18-year-old. Well, the birth certificate, 18-year-old.
That's racist.
No, I got to do the quotes because the MLBs have an issue with proving their birth certificate system with the overseas players right now. But Franklin Arias and Single A put up plus 300, batting average. He's more of your contact speed guy, but brings a good glove at shortstop. Right there, I would fill up the middle that way, but that's where I end with the Boston side of it.
I agree with you 3,000%. When I look at a guy like Wilyer Abreu, he's exactly what I want in a White Sox uniform. We could talk about the slug. We could talk about the defensive prowess, but what I like about him is his motor. He plays to win every fucking game. There have been a lot of balls that he's thrown away trying to make putouts at bases that generally you would get mad. You would say, why did you make that throw? But you understand why. Because in the situation of the game, he's trying to get an out. He has a strong, accurate arm. I would rather him take chances than not. You will never, ever see Luis Robert take a chance trying to throw somebody out because he doesn't know how to put himself in position to do so. Gonzo, if Wilyer Abreu plays center field, I guarantee you he can win a Gold Glove in center field in Chicago, especially with the metrics and how our stadium plays. He'll be perfect. Absolutely perfect. And a left-handed bat, he can hit 25 home runs out of there too. You want to talk about Chris Campbell. I don't care what position Chris Campbell plays. He can play any position. He's a right-handed guy, athletic, super, super instinctive. See, people don't know. You get caught up with the little videos of him going 3 for 4 and all of that, but you don't see him going first to third on a single. You have to watch him run the bases. Watch him set up defensively at multiple positions. Like this, it's hard to learn how to play one position. He's playing 4 and getting better offensively while doing it. I need that. I need the White Sox to get more versatile and light the fire. We have too many vanilla, just positional players. We're addicted to the Andrew Vaughn prototype. We're addicted to the Eloy Jimenez prototype. Why can't you get a little? I need wiggle. I need a little bit of flexibility, athleticism. I understand baseball is different, but it's still a fucking sport. Put some athletes in your jersey.
I'm actually disagree with you on that because Luis Robert is an athlete. Yohan Moncada is an athlete, and they suck. The White Sox need baseball players. What are you doing? What about trade packages?
This is the homework. This is the homework that I put together for everybody. I'll share it to you. No, it's delayed. It's delayed. That's what I'm trying to find out.
Anyway, that was the section of the Red Out podcast that we have now become. My final thought is that 2025 is going to be the year of Micro Adolfo. Finally, it's going to click for him. I don't know what he's up to these days, but he is going to be the next superstar White Sox player. To the point about the Red Sox and trading for any of that, I mean, we can go through all MLB pipeline and Baseball America, and we like this guy and that guy. I disagree with you on the White Sox need athletes. I think they've had too many athletes. They need more baseball players. Because if you're going to get athletes, then you hope that Will Venable and this organization is going to craft them, mold them into baseball players. They do not have enough baseball players.
Venable's job just to make the lineup card.
I mean, but by the time the player gets to Will Venable, he's going to be as close to a finished product as ideally possible. That's the whole point. We talked about this for so many years with the Twins. Every freaking guy that they would call up you'd never heard of would come up and hit 290, and then he would start playing every day, and then he was there for a decade. And they did that for so many years because they had a type that they developed, and then they came in day one, and they produced at the major league level. There was no questions asked. There was very little fine-tuning once they got to the bigs. It was learning how they're going to get pitched to in the big leagues. It was learning how to the speed of the game, so to speak, changes in Major League Baseball. The quality of play. That's what adjustments are made when you get to the big leagues. The White Sox have not been able to, for years, develop these guys that they bring into. We've said this how many times on this podcast? Outside of Tim Anderson, which I don't even give the White Sox that much credit for as an organization, what guys have they truly developed, especially offensively? They're pretty damn good at developing pitchers. I'll give them that. But Will Venable's job is to do the best with what he's got. It's Chris Getz and the rest of the organization's job to bring in talent and craft them, mold them, develop them into major league players, baseball players. I'm tired of athletes. I don't want a bunch of dudes who can run real fast and throw real hard if you can't hit for shit. And if you chase every single slider gets thrown your way. I want baseball players. Andrew Vaughn's a baseball player, but he's just a bad one. To me, you're saying they're in love with the prototype of Andrew Vaughn. What is that prototype? Just a dude who plays one position and isn't very good? Because Gavin Sheets and Andrew Vaughn are that prototype. Eloy Jimenez is that prototype. Luis Robert and Yohan Moncada are the athlete prototype. They have all the tools in the world, but they can't put it together on the field. They need baseball players. Thank you. This is the last thought on the White Sox before we get to our final fantasy thing.
See, but that's that you can be athletic and play the game of baseball. Like Willie Abreu is athletic and plays the game of baseball.
Is he a baseball player? Do you understand?
Yes.
When you categorize somebody as that?
Yes. So let's just.
Then I'm on board.
Willie Abreu sees 3 pitches outside the zone. The count is 3-0, maybe 2-1. That when I think of baseball, I think of that. Like play the chess game. You gotta be able to play chess. Baseball is hard. That's why I get mad at Major League Baseball players for missing meetings. Do you know how hard it is to hit 95 to 100? Do you know what it's like to see a 14-inch slider right after you've seen that 100?
Pause.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is. Size matters. Size matters. Like, yeah, bro.
No, finish.
Yeah, no, I'm done. Oh, I'm done.
All right, last thought on White Sox and on baseball from Gonzo before we finish with fantasy.
Actually, Jay, you take the first one. I got to think this one through.
What?
I believe it.
Whatever, man. You know what? At the end of the day, we can't really trust the White Sox to make any of the right decisions, especially going out and getting right players. We should have had Marcus Semien. Could have had Manny Machado.
Is that what y'all want?
Bryce Harper. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I don't have any hope. I feel like we're probably going to win only 57 games. It sucks.
Real quick, just want to remind everybody we are live at Little Joe's in Little Italy, 1041 Taylor Street. Shout out to our guy KG for having us. And for El Bandito Tequila, Chris Chelios Tequila, get yourself some. Shout out to the patrons at the bar. Did you win a bet earlier? Did you win a bet? Yeah, was it big? We need one more for 10K on the line over at the end of the bar. What do you need? Is it a parlay? Laporta to score a touchdown. Oh my goodness.
I actually started Laporta, so I'm with you.
So we hope for the 10K winner at the end of the bar. Good luck. When do the Lions play? Tonight. Oh, going for Laporta, tight end University. So last time, real quick, shout out El Bandito Tequila, Little Joe's here in Little Italy, 1041 Taylor Street, and Chris Gonzalez.
Yeah, I'm going to wrap up with the idea we're kind of going off here, Slav, is at the end of the day, our MO right now is we're trading elite arms for position players because we can't develop there with Cease and Crochet here coming up here. Well, Crochet coming up. But this needs to change soon, and hopefully puts the, with the Bannister and Fuller higher. Hopefully these coordinators are going to turn that around at the major league level, but is getting the most out of these guys and develop them to their fullest. And maybe we can get these guys more so Fuller. Maybe Fuller can get more out of Vaughn. We'll have to wait and see on that. But at the end of the day, if we have any true hope left to contend in this division in the future, it's going to be developing the position players to come. So, and that's where I leave it off, Slav. Now we go to fantasy talk.
Because I don't play in your guys' league.
So, where's KG?
Wow.
He's
taking a dump.
He's taking a dump. All right, you take it over.
I want to make myself perfectly clear. I am in first place, and I won't lose another game this whole season. I am the man. This league is so easy. I could win with Caleb Williams and the Bears defense starting every week, and it wouldn't matter. I'll win automatically. Gonzo, I would like to thank you for inviting me to this league. It has been absolutely a fucking blast, and my feet hurt from kicking you people ass. Thank you, and I look forward to it next week.
The irony is that you said like 10 minutes ago you were tired of getting kicked in the ass every single day as a White Sox fan. So you're doing some kicking yourself too. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, like everybody said, I'm probably going to lose the first playoff game because my team doesn't have any depth. I have George Pickens, a lunatic at wide receiver who's invincible. I have Caleb Williams, the first overall pick, and it doesn't even matter. Like, I'm going to win every week regardless. And I'm glad I could sit here and tell Gonzo in his face that I will be the champion of his league now and forever.
I just want to add that apparently there's a baseball fantasy league and all these geniuses let Shohei Ohtani drop to the last pick of the first round. So you get zero credit for anything. Allegedly, Shohei Ohtani went 12th overall in a fantasy draft among people who host a baseball podcast. So that tells you all that you need to know.
I think KG had 7th pick, but
it doesn't matter if he.
No.
If we didn't go top 3,
No.
You all failed. You all failed.
Oh.
You all failed.
At that draft, at the draft last spring, he was at that position because the pitching side of it was gone. He wasn't that high originally. No.
But he's still a great hitter.
Yeah.
are you telling me that he was sitting there at 5, 4, 6?
He's in that range. He was in that range. Yeah.
Nobody picked him.
I got to remember where KG was selected, but regardless, he wasn't going top 3 because there were 3 hitters that at that time for the dynasty was projected to be better at the hitting side of it.
Care.
But I don't care because I had the 3rd pick and I picked Bobby Witt Jr. So I'm good there.
But you could have had Shohei Ohtani.
I'm still picking Bobby Witt Jr. for the long run. Yes.
Oh, it is a dynasty league. That's
Dynasty.
okay.
Yep.
All right. Is there anything else you guys have?
No, because
When's the next time Bobby Witt's going to have a better year than Shohei Ohtani?
that is a great question.
The reason that's a great question is because no matter what answer you come up with, the answer is you're still stupid for passing up Shohei Ohtani. The fact that you even had to think about it. So 30 seconds ago, I would have taken Bobby Witt number 3 regardless. And then he asked you that question. If you're so sold on Bobby Witt, but you don't know the next time he's going to have a better season than Shohei Ohtani, like, do you plan to play this league for 12 years?
Well, technically it's fantasy, so it's category based. And Bobby Witt,
number 1 in everything.
no, not stolen, no. Or get the stolen base amount. He might not beat him on homers, but Ribbies is a toss up. Witt's got him on stolen bases for sure. And yeah, that's a good question. I didn't check. What was the difference? What was the difference though?
Let me see.
Look up the difference. Okay.
The answer here is you fucked up.
What was the hits too?
It doesn't matter.
No, because yeah.
Shohei was number 1 in damn near every category.
Bobby Witt only had 31. So 31. So
Oh, okay.
Oh, so he
So
doesn't
still
have
only-
him in that either.
Where's Otani? Where was he? Where did he end at?
50-50.
50-50. But that was his first 50.
This is Gonzo realizing I really fucked up. Like, oh, wow, that guy Otani's pretty darn good at baseball. And next year in your dynasty league, he's going to be pitching again. So your categories will be duplified. Is that a word? Duplified? You like that? I fucks with that one. Duplified. So the point is, you're all stupid for passing up on Shohei Ohtani. Is there anything else left that we need to discuss with this fantasy league?
Yeah.
Who's your number 1?
I think I made a mistake. I probably should have picked Shohei Ohtani instead of Gunnar Henderson.
When's the next time you think Gunnar Henderson's going to have a better season than Shohei Ohtani?
No further questions.
So who's you guys?
So Ray's asking us off camera.
Your target free agent for the White Sox.
My target free agent for the White Sox. There's a guy named Juan Soto. Hold that. No, it's not going to happen. There is no. Hold on one second.
I would say
What?
Yeah, I'm not in the league anyway. Are you talking about the White Sox? Oh, yeah. Hey, that's my question.
he want Slavko won Soto. I actually want Hassan Kemp. I think he's absolutely the DNA this team needs. Defense, base running, hard nose, plays every day, good offensive player.
I love it.
I mean, he's gonna be a little bit pricey for a team like the White Sox, but it's worth it. He'll be worth it. It's
4 years.
he could play shortstop pretty well too. If you like in between of you don't want Colson Montgomery, you don't want Jacob Gonzalez. I feel like Hassan Kemp.
4 years, 50, we'll get
Yeah, give me that.
Gonzo, your number 1 free agent target before we wrap up this baby.
Trying to find the tweet.
He's trying to find some tweet, so he's scrolling through. That's Pornhub. I don't know what you're looking for there.
Hey, send me the promo.
Oh, there's a tweet of Michael Kopech. I believe that's a World Series champion. Funny how that worked out. There's Ozzie Jr. Ozzie Jr.'s in Dubai. What are you looking for? A tweet about what?
Before we had the live podcast pinned, we had that from the last show we went live. We pinned that tweet about what free agents we were looking at or target.
Do you not remember who you want?
Actually, I think I actually got the save. I know Kim. I think Kim was like the first or second one, but I'm trying to look for. Give me a sec.
My point is, I'm saying Soto facetiously because the whole point is like you need top tier talent. The White Sox don't have any. They're not going to pony up $700 million for Soto.
Estrada. We were thinking about Estrada too with Kim.
Jeremiah?
No,
Tyro Estrada?
Thyro Estrada.
Tyro, not Thyro. Thyroid Estrada.
I don't think you need to get both because. Oh yeah, hell yeah! Because Estrada's contact, he's basically hits.
Let's read off this list. This is your list.
Yeah.
So we got Tyro Estrada, Hassan Kim, Casey Mize, Michael Conforto, John Means. These are all just like
Well, this is what we were talking about.
projects.
The
Matt Boyd,
realistic-
Spencer
the
Turnbull.
realistic names.
You have Turnbull. It's Turnbull. Blake Trainin, Kirby Yates. Oh, that's right. I remember in the group chat you were talking about Kirby Yates. Like nobody had ever heard of him. He's really good. Everyone's gonna want him. And then Lou Trevino. Like, I mean, a lot of those are just reclamation projects that you're hoping to like strike gold on. You might as well put Flaherty on there.
These ones. So these names were the names that we came up with realistic options that you can flip at the trade deadline for value. So, yeah.
Is that all I got?
That's all I got. Congrats to KG for winning season 1. Hopefully we get him in season 2, even with the Otani pick.
So we got to figure out. Gonzo's going to figure out how to give away all of our special prizes here. Ozzie Guillen Jr. signed 8x11 portrait autograph. Shebang bang. Got some Chicago Bears t-shirts. Jay, help me out, man. Fuck, I'm holding a microphone. I do. I got a microphone in one of them. There's another t-shirt. The Bears. We're going to give away a pair of balls. Ozzie Guillen, signed baseball. There's one.
Said it wasn't political.
2, Ozzie Guillen, signed baseball. He's got the other Da Bears shirt. Then we've got this. I think this one's a long sleeve, also that says Da Bears. This one's my favorite.
Gonzo, make sure you draw my name out. Put my name in the hat twice. Yeah.
So the first thing that Jay said when he came into the bar was, "I'm tired of the Bears. I think I quit." And then the second thing he said was, "Can we win the giveaways ourselves?" So no. This one's also dope. This is like kind of like a starter jacket. Model it for us, Jay. Yeah, Miller Lite Chicago Bears starter jacket. And then the grand prize, which we didn't even reveal until just now, it's going to be a 24x36 poster size picture of Jay doing the claw like Caleb Williams. Yeah. He doesn't mess with it. All right, final thoughts. Anything we learned? Any special shout outs other than KG?
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to my fantasy football team, the Targaryens. You guys did an outstanding fucking job this year. I didn't think I went into the year skeptical. I got destroyed on the draft board. You guys, you outperformed, and I'm proud of you. Like, I have blood on my hands every week because you're helping me kick people's ass. So thank you, Targaryens. You really inflated my ego on a fantasy football level, and I look forward to doing business with you guys in the future.
Gonzo, before you step away, your final thought and shout out.
A shout out all of our bar patrons. Thank you guys for showing up. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for coming to our live show. We'll be back in the spring, hopefully for some better baseball in this city, regardless if it's Sox or Cubs. Other than that, that's all I got for shout outs.
I was just going to shout out KG and Little Joe's for having us as always. This guy loves Gonzo. Get it on camera. Look at that. Showing some love to Gonzo. Chris Gonzalez.
So, actually, I will shout out Aaron here as well. Aaron and I were out Crossroads last night for the Tape Never Lies Network for our meetup with them. My man here is a big Sox fan. He came to support us tonight. We're going to give you a giveaway right here. Which one do you want?
All right.
You want a ball or you want a photo?
Hey, let me get a photo, man.
You want that photo? Yeah.
Yeah.
Real recognized real.
Right here, Aaron.
Hey,
Hold that up for
my man.
my man Aaron here. You got any thoughts for the show?
Hey, I love you all. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Gonzo, it's a pleasure meeting you, man. Look forward to the future.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you. Hey, KG. Last thoughts for your fantasy championship.
You let Otani go to the second round first pick.
No way.
Hold on. Hold this fucker.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're gonna play notes.
He was second round.
You were the 12th pick,
Slop. He was second.
so he went 13th.
We can go back to last year.
There we go.
Oh, this is not
Wait, put that in the camera.
Damn.
Oh,
that in the camera.
So he went 13.
idiots.
He went 13th.
That's embarrassing.
So who was your first pick then?
Freddie Freeman.
It makes you guys
So
all
Freeman,
more
Otani.
of an idiot.
Well, now it does after that season.
Shohei went third in the scumbag. He went third in the scumbag.
Wow. So he didn't go first, though, right?
No, he didn't go first. because-
Well, you're just saying he should have gone
No,
first.
Max an idiot, and then but he's so idiot because you can't.
All right, I'm tired of this. We don't need to talk about all your stupidity leaving Shohei Ohtani to the second round. You all fucked up. Thanks again. Shout out to KG. Shout out to El Bandito Tequila. Come over to Little Joe's in Little Italy, 1041 Taylor Street. Get yourself some quesadilla tacos because they are so goddamn good. Get yourself some El Bandito Tequila. And this month, the special, the Malort, the watermelon Sour Patch infused Malort is hot shit in a good way. So go get yourself a shot of that. For Gonzo, for Jay, for Ozzy Jr., who's fucking around in Dubai right now, couldn't join us. Thanks for the invite, Junior. Thank you for watching the Blackout Show. We'll see you guys next time.